Welcome. This is an introduction on how to use the Excel spreadsheets in the Financial Model 1's course. And there, the idea is that first you go to the book of Peter Christopherson, Elements of Financial Risk Management. And at the end of chapter 1, that's on page 19 and 20, you're going to find the empirical exercises. So you follow the instructions. So on top it says open the chapter 1 data.xlsx file on the website. So now the question is, okay, what is the website? So here we go to comunidad.itam.mx. Here I'm logged in automatically, but you have to enter your username and password when you go to the comunidad.itam.mx website, as it says here on top. Then from here you go to the course Modelos Financieros 1, and here you go to the professor material. In here in the screen you might not see the same things that are currently displayed. This is because, well, I have more access to all the files, so your menu might show up different. But the exercises, I'm gonna make them available, so you should have pretty much the same thing that you have here. So you have here the chapter 1 data and the chapter 1 results, and then here chapter 2 data, chapter 2 results, and all the way up to chapter 13. So here you have the whole book, chapters, data and results. So chapter 1 data is the file you should work on. So it's basically the raw file that it's ready to work with. Chapter 1 results is the one that contains all the solutions to the problems. So the problems are already solved. So let's go to chapter 1 data. I'm going to open it again. So chapter 1 data, and so it opens. And here at the bottom you have 8 sheets, question 1.1, question 1.2 up to question 1.8, which correspond to 1 to up to question 8 exercises. So for example, question 1, actually I'm going to go back here. It says from the S&P 500 prices, remove the prices that are simply repeats of the previous day's price because they indicate a missing observation due to a holiday. Calculate daily log returns, gives us the formula using natural logarithm. Plot the closing prices and returns over time. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. I'm going to skip a step. You guys do the cleaning of the same prices. Let's assume that this is your entire series, so I'm going to take the first 30 prices. I'm going to assume they're already clean. I'm going to paste them here. So you see that as I paste them, they already show up in the graph for the close price. And now I'm going to compute the log return, so equals the natural logarithm, this over this, and then enter. To drag it, there are several ways. My preferred one is I go select here at the bottom where I get the dark cross, and I double click on it. Once I double click, I get the copy paste, and here I have my 2 graphs. This is like a quick demonstration on how to do problem 1. As for problem 2 goes, in problem 2 you're going to have to compute something called the histogram, or using the histogram tool under the data analysis. In the guide it says enable the data analysis tools under tools add-ins. So how do you do that? Let's go to Excel. My version of Excel is Excel 2010. So I'm going to demonstrate here, but look in the internet and it's going to tell you how to enable it. So in here you go to File, then you go here to Options. This window pops up. Here you go to Add-ins. And then under add-ins, at the bottom here it says Excel add-ins go. So here I click go, and here you have all the tool packs. So I'm going to enable this 3 that we're actually going to be using them all this semester. The Euro currency tools, I'm going to enable it, but we're not going to be using that. Okay. So then I click OK, and then something's happened, but the bottom line is that we should have the analysis tool pack. So if you go here to data, and then you're going to find here the data analysis. So for question 1.2, at some point you're going to need the data analysis tool pack to do the histogram. So here you have histogram, and then figure out exactly what they mean. So input range, bin, so on and so forth, and you can also do the histogram that way. Now, what is What is a histogram? So I've prepared a short video for you to understand what a histogram is. So let me explain this graph to see what it means. So on top we have the word histogram, then here we have the return. And in this case, the return for some specific day was 0.355%. And then at the bottom, I have made something that is called buckets. So the buckets are basically equally spaced bins where I am going to be able to drop this return. So the first bucket goes from minus 5.6% to minus 5%, the second one from minus 5 to minus 4.4, and so on. Now, there's this bucket that says minus 0.1 to 0.5. And this is the bucket where this return is actually going to go in. So go in, what does it mean? So here on the left, we have the count. So we're going to basically be counting how many returns fall into that specific bucket. So far in this one, maybe like 10 have fallen there. In the extreme ones, maybe 1. And then in this one's 0. So this one is going to fall in here. And then I'm going to run the video. And then you're going to see how, like, every day a return is generated. And then as it's generated, then I start filling up my histogram. So basically the histogram is going to show kind of an empirical distribution as you know it. Let's move this forward. And you see that this somehow starts looking like the normal. It's not exactly the normal distribution because this is an empirical exercise, but it kind of looks like it. All right. So let me stop it here at the end so that we see, well, this looks very much normal. So the whole idea in chapter 3 exercise is to see how the returns of the S&P 500 behave compared to the normal distribution. So we are going to have the histogram of the daily S&P 500 returns and the normal distribution. So this is what you should be doing in this question 1.2. The last guide I'm going to give is respect to question 1.3. So in there, the idea is to compute the 100 lag autocorrelations. And then it says use the function correl. So we go to question 1.3 and then we compute our log returns. Let's assume this one are clean ones. And then we have to compute the autocorrelation of the series. So one of the tricks here is, well, you can do, so this would be lag 1. So this can be the correlation. So I'm going to show with a small sample. So let's take the first 20, right? And then I'm going to take the next 20. Okay. And then autocorrelation of lag 2 is going to be pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to copy exactly the same formula and drop it here. And then we can move this manually and say, well, correlation of lag 2, it seems it's this. So in this case, I mean, because I took a very, very short sample, that's why we get these very high numbers. But that's not going to be the way. That's not going to be the result. Now, when you take the whole series, you can do the same, like one by one, and then you start moving one by one. But the other trick is that the correlation function ignores the empty cells. So if you actually go and compute the correlation of the entire series and then you drop it by 1 and extend it by 1 here, then basically what you're gonna get is that the last correlation is not gonna be computed just because here there's no data. So that's kind of a trick that you can use in order to be able to compute the 100 lag correlation. The other trick you need to know is how to use the dollar sign. So the first time series, in that case, is going to need the dollar sign on the 4 so that it doesn't move. Oh, and also on the 3. So none of those is gonna move, and then you're gonna be able to drag it, and then it should move automatically. Oh, by the way, how did I do this? I just pressed F4, and then it locks this cell. It means that if I have this cell here and then I move it down, then the one, the C5 C24 is gonna move, but the C4 C23 is not. So you see, the second one is moving, whereas the first one is not. So that's basically the trick with the $sign that you can use. So that's it for the introduction, how to use the Excel spreadsheets for the Financial Models 1 course. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, or if you want to see me, you can drop by in office hours, or you can send me an email and then we can arrange to meet each other. Okay, thank you very much for watching.